Well, Shalom Mishpocha. I am excited to talk to you today about cultivating your garden of prayer. I was on the phone talking to one of my nieces, and she had texted me asking me to pray for her. She was getting ready to be able to spend some time with someone, and she wanted to, out of the abundance of her heart, give them encouraging words. And I said to her in that moment, I said, be confident in the time you have spent in cultivating the place of prayer, and trust that God has given you an abundant supply of what this person is going to need to hear. And when I said it, it was kind of like rockets went off in my heart, because I felt as though I had stumbled onto something that was really concrete, that I could really wrap my arms around in this aspect of continuing prayer. I drew a little picture in my journal from that moment, and I think I posted it on Facebook, but this is my little garden of prayer. Just kind of something that kind of came into my mind. But to imagine my garden of prayer being someplace where I'm not racing in as though it's always some emergency, but a place where I actually dwell with God. My father used to love quoting passages from the Old Testament, people call it. It's the TaNaK, Torah, for the first 5 books of the prophet Moshe. And then there are the Nevi'im, which is the writing of the prophets, and the Ketuvim, the wisdom writings. And that's where we get the word TaNaK from. And he quoted from Yeshayahu, Isaiah. And if you're wondering, why are you saying that? It's because I'm learning Hebrew, and I'm learning the original names of these wonderful books that I've loved all my life. And it's just something to me to be able to restore the document back into the cultural context and the context of the language. I'm working on learning Hebrew. I need to work a little bit harder at learning Hebrew, but my goal is to ultimately be able to read the Hebrew language and speak the Hebrew language. I just have that in my heart to do. In Yeshayahu, Isaiah chapter 26, and in verse 3, I'm using a wonderful translation that has been a real blessing to me and Sarah as we've been studying scripture. And it's called the Complete Jewish Bible. And I'll read to you what it says. In verse 3, a person whose desire rests on you, you preserve in perfect peace, because he trusts in you. Trust in Adonai forever, because in Yah Adonai is a rock of ages. In prayer, we find firm footing. It reminds me of the garden I had years ago on a street called Joplin Avenue in Lakeville, Minnesota. And in this garden, I began to cut all of the weeds out and plant beautiful flowers. But as my garden took off, I began to do even more, and I began to create pathways. And in order to have solid pathways, you would dig up an area, and it was hard work. And in order to keep the weeds from growing back, I would put down a netting. And then on top of the netting, I would put down pea gravel. And this made for a beautiful, I used the light tan, so it made for a beautiful walkway. Well, my husband, seeing all my hard work, kind of got in on the act, and he was very good at concrete work. And he actually poured concrete for me on some little a dirt stairway I kind of had carved out of the hill. And instead of leaving my dirt stairway to wash away, my husband came and poured concrete. And he used these wood forms and he poured concrete. And then in the concrete he placed these beautiful pavers of stone. And I had a stone stairway in my garden. And it's amazing how firm and secure these stairs were in my garden. Likewise, when we go to Adonai in prayer, you are going to the Rock of Ages. You are going to him, and he won't fail. Your prayer time with him will not be in vain. Your time spent with him will be a foundation that will not wash away.